Hi, and welcome to the Drunk Linux User. I am Len. I am the Drunk Linux User. And I made a comment not too long ago that my son from China was arriving and that that shouldn't interfere with any of my work here on the program. I lied. It's actually been great. He's here. Everything's fine. No problems. And he's just the nicest guy you'll ever meet. So welcome to Long. Glad to have you here in America. We're going to get into some of the news and something kind of funny towards the end. But here we go. And just go ahead and get this out of the way. First thing we're going to talk about is Windows. Windows is going to be released on October 5th, 2021. Will this be a date in infamy? I have no idea. And Microsoft has scaled back a little bit. They're saying that some of the computers that would not work before are going to work, and some are saying no. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this. And speaking of computers, I figured out what was going on with the new computer and the hard drive that it came with. Apparently the hard drive is damaged somehow, and Dell is going to be shipping me a replacement. In the meantime, I was able to try to fix things somewhat by using, Windows stuff. CHKDSK, check disk space /F. Okay. Restarted twice. It seems to have allowed me to put Ubuntu on that particular hard drive. And one of the websites one of the videos that I had actually seen mentioned that Ubuntu, and I believe it was Fedora, are really the only two Linux distributions that are set up to work in this type of environment with a UEFI boot. So, go figure. Still had to make sure that Secure Boot was turned off, though, in order to do that. But I was able to finally format as an ext4 file system for Ubuntu. I put Unity on it, which is kind of funny. We're not looking at that right now. We're still looking at Linux Mint because for some odd reason, Ubuntu does not see my headphones, my microphone, or anything else. So the only thing it sees for output is the microphone, and I'd really like to see how that works. So we're going from equipment to Elementary OS. Talked about them just recently. They got their first point release update, some bug fixes, things along that line. And this is all good. This is all great stuff. It doesn't thrill a lot of people when you get a point release that really doesn't show much on the surface. So if you happen to run across, even on Windows, when they have an update and you don't see anything different, a lot of it is under the levels that you have access to or that you interact with. So give these guys a break. They may not have made it more pretty or given you any more new features to work with, but what they're doing is they're solidifying the distribution or the operating system and making it better for you. So Elementary has theirs. KDE, which is not a distribution but a desktop environment, they get a first point release and bug fixes for their gear, which is Dolphin, Elisa, and Spectacle, and this is important as well. I had talked about having Endeavor OS with KDE on another partition on my computer, and I'm not sure what's going on, if it's just because it's rolling with the updates constantly, or if it's a setting that I made, but I had it freeze up a couple times on me. I have stopped using KDE for now. However, that being said, if you are really interested in using KDE, I would strongly suggest looking into KDE Neon. It's Ubuntu with the latest, greatest KDE slapped on top, and people swear by it. I think it's great too. I really do. But I'm still a big Unity nut, so I'm sticking with Unity. After that, we're going to take a look at a little bit more on the hardware side. Found this article, Top 10 Cheap Linux Laptops. This is a 2020 edition, okay? And even though it's a year old, look into these. The prices may be a little bit higher because we all know that prices have gone up in hardware over the last year. But these are Linux laptops. These were designed for Linux. And so if you're interested in something that is not already set up with Windows or anything else, give these a look. It's the Pine 64 Pinebook Pro. Now, you'll notice in this article that the prices steadily go up the farther you go down. So the specs on the top listings aren't going to be of the highest, but if you're not looking for something to make videos with or create the next latest greatest album or create I don't know, something to cure cancer with, these first few may not be exactly what you're looking for. So give it a shot, though. Give it a shot. I had mentioned once before that I have a phone that is de-Googleified, and there are other options as well where you're not using Android, or you can use a version of Android that has Google removed already built in. The reason that I've taken the route that I've taken is because I can personally do this myself. I don't have to rely on anybody else to do it, which means that I can bring the cost down. So there is a Pine phone. Okay, Pine phone is really good. You can try it with Manjaro Plasma, which is like the KDE desktop. UB Ports, which is like the Ubuntu Unity or the Ubuntu phone system. Sailfish, and others. So you have a different choice of operating environments that you can choose from for interaction. Sort of like if you were able to take an Android or an iPhone and be able to put the Android or the iPhone on those particular machines, which you can't, but it's kind of like that. There's also the Fairphone. And these are all very interesting. Librem 5. If you're interested, check these out, okay, and decide which would be more suitable for your needs. Understand that on some of these you are not going to be able to use your favorite Android programs. So don't buy one of these things and say, hey, you just screwed me out of a whole bunch of money because I can't use my WeChat or whatever. It's not my fault. All right. The last one is kind of funny, and it's only because of the name of the laptop. System 76 is a very unique company when it comes to Linux. They build amazing hardware. I have yet to try one, but the specs on what they're selling is really, really good. Yet they call this the Pangolin. That's an unfortunate name these days, as you'll see from this short clip with Jon Stewart on the Colbert Show.
Well, if there was evidence, I'd love to hear it.
There's a novel respiratory coronavirus overtaking Wuhan, China. What do we do? Oh, you know who we could ask? The Wuhan Novel Respiratory Coronavirus Lab. The disease is the same name as the lab. That's just a little too weird, don't you think? And then they ask the scientists, they're like, how did this... So wait a minute, you work at the Wuhan Respiratory Coronavirus Lab. How did this happen? And they're like, a pangolin kissed a turtle.
See what I mean? So, good for them. They have another upgrade to this particular series. But, I don't know. I think maybe I would have changed the name on it a little bit. All right. And I really don't have much more in the way of additional news. I'll make sure that all of these links are in the description as usual. And in the meantime, don't drive drunk. Don't drink and drive. Don't go to eBay or Amazon or any place else all buzzed up and thinking that you're going to buy the coolest stuff, because I can guarantee you're probably not going to. And still working on the non-adult beverages for the moment. More great coffee. And like I said once before, this used to be considered an adult beverage. Just now everybody drinks coffee, right? Bottoms up. Later, dudes. Oh, I never said before. I had a cousin, used to work for NASA. Was there for years and years. He really was a rocket scientist.